Okay, let's dive straight into this explainer with a pretty staggering thought experiment. Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow morning, and literally every single human on Earth is just gone. No warning at all, no sound, no bodies left behind, just poof, gone. What would actually happen next? Well, we are going to map out exactly how our world would unravel, and honestly, what that unraveling tells us about our own place in it. 8 billion people. I really want to emphasize the sheer, almost incomprehensible scale of this instant vanishing. 8 billion of us, gone in a split second. It's kind of hard to even wrap your head around, isn't it? Now, the immediate aftermath might actually seem strangely peaceful. You'd have these perfectly silent cities and completely empty roads. There's no traffic jams, no construction noise. But those first few minutes would feel incredibly eerie, because there's this weird temporary illusion that civilization is actually still functioning. I mean, cars would just keep cruising down the highway without their drivers until they either crash or run out of gas. Phones would just be endlessly ringing in empty living rooms. Televisions would still be broadcasting to nobody. And the internet? Well, it would still work. For a little while, anyway. Which brings us to Section 1. The system collapses, where reality starts breaking apart. See, human civilization really only works because we are constantly actively maintaining it. So the exact moment we disappear, everything triggers this terrifyingly fast domino effect. Within minutes, power plants around the globe start failing. Sure, a lot of our systems are automated, but not forever. Without engineers keeping an eye on things, electrical grids just slowly collapse, and one by one, the lights of humanity go dark. Then, give it a few hours and think about the thousands of airplanes that are still up in the sky. Autopilot is going to keep them stable for a bit, but eventually, the fuel runs out, aircraft would literally begin falling from the sky into oceans, mountains, and city centers. It's basically a silent apocalypse. And to really ground this global chaos, let's zoom in on a specific, deeply relatable detail. Think about our pets. There'd be millions of dogs and cats trapped inside homes. At first, they just wait, totally confused, expecting us to walk through the door. But we don't. And while some might figure out how to escape, a lot of them just wouldn't survive. Meanwhile, out in the cities, zoos turn into absolute chaos. Predators break free from their enclosures, and nature just begins reclaiming control on day one. And this chaos spreads to the digital world almost instantly, too. Within just a few days, most of the internet is completely gone in this step-by-step sequential death. Our servers require massive amounts of electricity, and without it, the cooling systems just shut down. Next, the data centers overheat and fry. Websites vanish, social media goes dead, and all that cloud storage just disappears. Just like that, centuries of recorded human knowledge simply fade into absolute silence. But then comes something much, much worse: the nuclear power plants. Yes, modern nuclear facilities are packed with emergency safety systems, but those backups still require human maintenance. Without us around, many of these reactors would eventually overheat. We're talking massive explosions and radiation leaks spreading across huge regions of the planet. Now, it wouldn't be enough to totally destroy the Earth, but it would absolutely be enough to scar it permanently, making entire areas completely unlivable for a very long time. So while our systems are burning down, we enter Section 2. Nature reclaims the Earth. The world grows wild again. What's wild is how the rapid physical decay of all our abandoned infrastructure is met with this immediate, almost aggressive return of wildlife. Give it a few weeks and plants are already breaking right through the asphalt. Grass is spreading across major highways, and a thick layer of dust covers the cities. Fast forward a year, and our subways completely fill with water because the automated pump systems failed. Meanwhile, the animals are moving back in. You've got birds building nests in high-rise apartments, rats multiplying by the millions, and those escaped predators, they move straight into the urban areas. Human civilization gets swallowed up surprisingly fast. Now, imagine the oceans for a second. Without those massive cargo ships constantly churning across the water, the seas finally quiet down. Marine life starts slowly recovering, and fish populations bounce right back. Whales are actually able to communicate across vast distances without that constant, deafening hum of human noise pollution getting in the way. For the first time in centuries, nature can finally just breathe. It turns out the Earth heals surprisingly quickly once we're out of the picture. Which takes us to Section 3, the erasure of civilization, where everything just disappears. When we look at this on a macro scale, the erasure of our existence is just relentless. After 1 year, windows are shattering, buildings are decaying, and the roads are actively breaking apart. Fast forward a few decades, and our grand cities have literally become forests.
We're talking trees growing right up through the middle of skyscrapers, with wild animals roaming what used to be busy intersections. By the 1,000-year mark, almost no modern cities are left standing at all. Buildings completely collapse, the steel rusts away into nothing, and the concrete just crumbles to dust. Forests cover entire continents, leaving the planet looking totally wild and practically untouched again.
And honestly, this brings us to a pretty terrifying realization. Literally everything humans built, everything we were so convinced was absolutely permanent, would just disappear. Governments, the concept of money, fame, our social media feeds, the tallest skyscrapers, entire empires, all of it, just gone. Eventually totally swallowed up by time, as the world essentially forgets we ever even existed. So, what's actually left to prove we were here? Well, sure, a few stubborn traces might stick around, maybe some large stone monuments or deep ruins. But if some other intelligent species ever traveled to Earth in the far, far future, they'd probably only find tiny fragments of us. Just broken little structures buried deep underground. Tiny, silent little clues that, hey, maybe some sort of intelligent beings once ruled this rock. Which naturally leads to the final part of our explainer, Section 4. Why our fragility matters. Let's look at the deeper question here. This whole thought experiment really hits on a core discomfort for us, doesn't it? As humans, we really love to believe we're permanent. We like to think we're this incredibly important, absolutely necessary part of the universe. But the hard truth? Earth was doing just fine long before us, and it's going to keep spinning long after us. Human civilization feels massive and all-encompassing to us right now, but when you put it on the grand timeline of the universe, we are just a blip. A very, very short little moment. Looking at things on that massive cosmic scale really forces us to confront how incredibly temporary everything in our lives really is. Think about your job, your day-to-day stress, your follower count online, all those little daily worries that keep you up at night. We spend our entire lives utterly consumed by these things, but one day, absolutely none of it will matter. And I get it. Confronting that realization can be deeply terrifying. But you know what? It can also be unbelievably freeing. Because if life is ultimately temporary, then maybe the stuff that truly matters isn't our status. It's not pleasing some digital algorithm or buying more things. It's experience. It's genuine connection. It's finding meaning. It's just about the simple act of being alive, right here, right now. Someday, humanity itself might disappear, sure. But this moment right now, it still exists. You still exist. So the absolutely crucial takeaway we're pulling from all this source material is this concept of fragility. The real value of life isn't found in its permanence. It's actually found in its fragility. The very fact that our time here is so temporary is exactly what makes this current moment so deeply, incredibly valuable. So the next time you're walking through a really crowded, loud city, do me a favor. Try imagining it completely empty, totally silent, slowly being covered up by wild nature, with just the wind moving through the abandoned streets. And as you picture that, ask yourself, if humanity actually disappeared tomorrow, what traces of us would really matter?